Hi Wellness Warriors, I'm Melissa with Mental Muscle Wellness, and today I have a lower body kettlebell workout. Something that a lot of clients and students tell me is that they're intimidated by kettlebells. It's easy to come here on YouTube or search the internet, and a lot of kettlebell users are doing swings and some other really big ballistic and dynamic movements. Kettlebell training doesn't have to be that. A kettlebell is a great piece of equipment, especially when you consider price per pound, to keep at home, and you can mimic a lot of dumbbell exercises with it as well. So come along with me today and we will jump right in. So before we get started, I will make my usual disclaimer here that I will show one set of 10 of each of the exercises that I'm demonstrating. Any of the sided exercises, I will show you both right and left hand sides. I will also attempt to show all of the exercises from an angle where you can see my body angles appropriately, in particular the swings when we get to those. So if you would like a longer workout, feel free to either pause the video in between exercises and repeat as sets, or you can watch the video all the way through and rewind from the end, go back to the beginning and do it as a circuit. Either way, you'll get a great workout. So to start, you'll need a kettlebell. And at least for our warm-up, you'll need a place to sit. I'm home, so I'm going to use my couch. Anything that you have will work. A couch, an ottoman, a dining room chair, etc. So we're going to start with a warm-up, and our first exercise is actually going to be a seated deadlift. A lot of people get really nervous about deadlifts, and I love doing them this way for a couple of different reasons. A, they're less intimidating, but B, it also teaches your body the very important hip hinge that's required to properly do the deadlift in such a way that, again, it's a lot less intimidating. So have a seat. You're going to bring your rear end somewhat close to the end of whatever you happen to be sitting on, and you're going to place your feet hip width apart. So it will seem slightly wider than what you're usually used to. That's okay. With your kettlebell, you're going to set it down on the floor in between your feet, right about where your arches would lie. Okay? And all you're going to do is, again, contract your core. Every strength exercise that you start should always start with a nice contracted core. So pull everything in. Again, imagine that hook behind your belly button, pulling in towards your spine. Shoulders nice and tall. The big deal here is you don't want to round and hunch forward. You want to keep your back in a nice straight line through the entire motion. But once you're here, hands come in front of you, you're going to lean down, grab the handle of the kettlebell, and you're just going to come right forward. And then exhale down and back up. So again, it's a very simple, straightforward motion, and you should be hinging at the hip. So again, we want to keep our back nice and straight, shoulders stacked as much as we can. No rounding or hunching. Many of our lower body exercises use this hinge motion. Usually the personal trainer cue that we say is to stick your rear end out. But I think adding these seated deadlifts as part of your warm-up is a really great way of forcing your brain to talk to your body in a way that it allows that motion to become a little bit more natural. Do one more. And go ahead, set the kettlebell down. For our next warm-up exercise, you actually won't need it. Stand up. We're gonna practice the, whoops, as my kettlebell falls down, we're gonna practice the swing motion. Something else that I like to do a lot with warm-ups are practicing more difficult or more complex movement patterns without any weight. A great way to build confidence with strength training is to do the exercises without any weight. Again, it's a good way of getting your brain to talk to your body without you needing to worry about holding on or balancing something heavier. So I'm going to turn on an angle so that you can, again, see what my body is doing. But feel free to face wherever you feel comfortable. So my feet are at about hip width distance apart, and I'm going to pretend that I have the kettlebell in my hands. So I'm going to bring my hands down in front of me, and I usually like kind of interlacing my thumbs a little bit just to kind of keep my shoulders where they're supposed to be. Again, pull in your core, contract everything right here. Shoulders come high. Big mistake that we see with swings, again, is that rounding the shoulders and really coming up with the shoulders. That's actually an upper body swing. A lower body swing, again, we're gonna stick our rear end out, okay? So we're gonna practice that hip hinge again. Little teeny bend in the knees, and we're gonna come up explosively. Our hands shouldn't come any higher than shoulder height. So again, hinge and up. Hinge and up. My knees do bend very slightly, but again, the majority of that motion is coming from my hips. You want to feel this in your glutes and your hamstrings, so along the back side of your body. Two more. And relax. So go ahead, grab your kettlebell, and we're gonna go right into split squats. So you're gonna take a staggered lunge stance. I'm starting with my right foot forward. If you prefer to start with your left, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter, we'll do both sides. And I'm carrying the kettlebell in my left. So from here, we're gonna bend like we're squatting, but because our feet are in this staggered stance, it will look more like the bottom of a lunge. If you have trouble balancing in this position, make sure that your feet are not lined up right in front of each other. So pretend that you're not on a balance beam, okay? Leave them shoulder width apart. Your balance will be much more stable. So again, inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Again, make sure that that core is nice and contracted, shoulders are nice and tall. Hopefully you guys noticed I reset myself while I was talking. And as always, I'm coming down into my full range of motion. If your range of motion is smaller than mine, that's okay. If your lunge is comfortable here before you come back up, you do you. And one more is 10. There we go. And so I'm gonna swing around and set up for the other side. So again, my left foot will be forward. I'll have the kettlebell in my right hand. Feet staggered. Again, about shoulder width distance apart for balance. And inhale, exhale. All right, shake the legs out a little bit. We're gonna move to one-legged Russian deadlifts. I also call these Russian lunges. But again, you're gonna start with that same staggered stance. So again, I'm starting with my right foot forward. Whichever foot you chose to start with first is cool. You're gonna grip the the kettlebell at about the corners with each hand. And it's gonna come almost over your toes. And essentially what we're gonna do here is we're gonna kick this back leg up and straight. So the kettlebell acts almost like a pendulum for our body. So again, we are inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Again, just like with the split squats, if your motion, your comfortable range of motion is smaller than mine, that's okay. It doesn't need to be any bigger. The highest you want your back leg to come is tabletop. But if here is where you feel comfortable, or even here, because of balance or strength, that's okay. Two more right here. And relax. And again, we'll set up for the other side. So my left foot is forward. That's going to be my base leg. Again, gripping the kettlebell on the corners where the handle meets the horns. And inhale and exhale. Go ahead, come back to square. Again, put the kettlebell down, take a little walk around if you need to, shake the legs out. We are going to move into goblet squats. Now there are two ways that you can hold the kettlebell for this exercise. If you like this hook grip, we call it, this sort of standard grip that you would use with any dumbbell or barbell, you can stay with that, or you can actually bring the dumbbell up, hold it on the horns, and, kettlebell. I keep calling it a dumbbell. You can actually bring the kettlebell up, hold it by the horns, and bring it up into your chest. I would recommend doing this method, again, if squats are new to you, if your range of motion is going to be a little bit less than mine, or if you have balance issues. This is a great way to kind of keep the weight closer to the center of your body. That usually means that you have more control over it. So for goblet squats, we're going to set our feet up about hip distance apart. If you prefer to turn your toes out and open a little bit, by all means do so. I do, because I feel more comfortable that way. And again, if you're going to go with the hook grip, the kettlebell comes down in front of you like this. If you're going to go with the grip on the horns, it's right up into your chest like this. And we're just going to do simple squat. Okay, so again, core contracted and pulled in. A squat always starts with a little mini hinge. So always practice sticking your rear end out behind you at the start of a squat motion. So inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. And I'm going to turn to the side. You can keep going, but again, just that you can see the angle. Again, as before, your happy range of motion. If that's here, great. If you can get parallel or lower, even better. But as always, listen to your body. Last two. There we go. Go ahead and relax. And here comes the big one, swings. So we're going to keep our feet about in the same position as they were. I'm going to start in this 45-degree angled position. I'll do several reps that way, and then I'll turn fully to the side again, so that you can see exactly what my body looks like. But feet hip width apart, toes turned slightly out. Again, that nice hook grip. So you should have thumb and forefinger touching around the handle, both hands in. And again, just like we practiced in the warm-up, this is a hip hinge. So your knees will bend a little, but the idea here is that most of the power for this exercise comes from your glutes and your hamstrings when you stand up. So you really want to feel it there, okay? So here we go. Core contracted, stick the butt out, inhale, explode. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, and I'm going to turn all the way to the side. And that's 10. All right, last exercise, moving into lateral lunges. So similar to goblet squats, you can hold the kettlebell down in front of you if you prefer, or you can hold it up by the horns and in at your chest. So find a little patch of floor where you've got room, at least out to one side. And we're gonna just take a big step out to that side. Again, just as with any squat, your hips hinge backwards first, and then your knees bend to lower you fully down. So, step and lower, and press back. Inhale, exhale. I know I sound like a broken record, but as with all of our previous exercises, follow your comfortable range of motion. If that's here, that's okay. If that's here, that's also okay. And that was 10. So that one was right lead for me. So I'm going to come this way, and I'm going to lead with the other side. Same step, same motion. And that's 10. And that brings us to the end of our workout. So I hope you enjoyed this lower body kettlebell workout. And until next time, be well, friends.